Good day, welcome to A Plus Model School, Ikotomodo, Ashe State, Nigeria. My name is Taylor Samson Adeshina. I will be taking you on basic science today. And today's topic, before we go into today's topic, let us do a little bit revision on what we did last week. Last week we talked about crude oil and petrochemicals. Crude oil and petrochemicals. We explained what the meaning of crude oils and petrochemicals are. We said crude oil is made up of hydrocarbons, hydrogen and carbons. And we said hydrocarbons are organic compound with only two elements, which is carbon and hydrogen. We also talk about petrochemicals. So petrochemicals are substances that are manufactured from the byproducts of petroleum. And we mentioned some examples of petrochemicals. Talk about the benzene, the ethanol, the ethene, the propanol, the toluene. Now today, we're still taking crude oil and petrochemicals, and we're going to discuss a subtopic, refining of crude oil. How do we refine crude oil? Refining of crude oil. Crude oil is a complex mixture of hydrocarbons. I think we've earlier said that during the last class that they're a mixture of hydrocarbons, but they are very complex. And to separate the constituents, we apply the method of fractional distillation. This method of fractional distillation is whereby petroleum is separated, or crude oil is separated into different portions. And this different portion is called fractions. And each fractions contains several compounds, all which fall within a certain boiling point range. That's what fractional distillation does. When it's reaching a boiling point, it separates the compound in that boiling point. It continues boiling. When it gets to another boiling point, it separates the fraction in that boiling point. So that's what we call fractional. These fractions can be differentiated from one another by different texture, color, odor, volatility, and their relative case of ignition and burning. Let me quickly explain this. If you notice, if you can mention different examples of fractions of crude oil, we have petroleum, we have kerosene, we have gas, we have diesel. If you notice, the texture of petrol is different from the texture of diesel. If you can touch it, the color is different. I think diesel is more darker than petroleum. The odor, the way you perceive the odor of diesel is different from that of petrol, is different from that of kerosene, is different from that of gas. The way the volatility, that means the way they escape into the atmosphere, the way they evaporate, is different. If you release a gas here, gas will evaporate easily, but that will not happen in petrol, kerosene. So, and their relative case of ignition, the way they burn things is different also. If you apply kerosene to a refuse dump that you want to burn, the way it will ignite is different from the way you apply diesel. It's very different from the way you apply petrol. The case of ignition of petrol is very high, and that of gas is the highest. Gas is the highest, very inflammable. So that is how you can differentiate the fractions of crude oil. Now, Nigeria has a lot of crude oil which is distilled in refineries to give us useful products. These are the products that is being distilled in the refinery that give us this kind of product. We have petroleum gas, we have petrol, we have kerosene, we have naphtha, we have diesel oil, we have lubricating oil, bitumen. All these are product of crude oil. All these are product of crude oil. Now let's see the uses of crude oil and petrochemicals. The uses of crude oil and petrochemicals. Crude oil products like kerosene, petrol, and diesel supplies energy at home and industry. Yes, we use kerosene to cook in our house. Petrol we use to move our engines, to operate our generators, to operate our grinding machine. We use petrol to operate most of the machines that we use. We use diesel to operate our generator. It runs some truck too. Some truck are diesel engine. And kerosene we use it to cook. We use it to cook in our various houses. We use it to burn. So different uses. You can use petrol petroleum products or petrochemical products for. Bitumen can be used to tar road during road construction, and it is used for roofing. You can use bitumen to tar your road, our road. Almost all the roads that are in Nigeria have been tarred with the aid of bitumen. You use bitumen to tar road. You use it for some roofing. Some people use it for roofing. Petrochemical are useful in production of insecticide. All these insecticides that we have, Raid, Baygon, these are the what? They are the production or product of petrochemicals. Fertilizers, some fertilizers are produced from petrochemicals. The nylon bag that we use to carry our things. Automobile tire, all these they are the what? They are the product of petrochemicals. Now, importance of crude oil and petrochemicals. Importance of crude oil, they serve as a major source of income. Yes, if you notice, all the Nigerian economy revolves around crude oil. If you notice that anytime there is a low patronage in the purchase of crude oil all over the world, it affects Nigerian economy. It affects Nigerian economy. The time that Nigeria went into recession, that most of the time there is no money to pay workers, the government bankrupted. It was as a result of the low purchase or low patronage of crude oil all over the world. So the price of crude oil comes down. The money the government is realizing from the crude oil is not enough to cater for the country again. So Nigeria started running around trying to ask for money, going into debt, borrowing money around, and that's why they say the nation is running into what? Recession. So it's the main source of income of Nigeria as a country and other countries too. Even some people sells petroleum is their major source of income. They like retailer. We have some that sells kerosene too, source of income. There are some that sells gas too, diesel. All these they are what? They are major source of income of petroleum and crude oil. So it serves as a major source of income for crude oil. Another one is exploration. It's exploration and exportation. It's exploration and exportation in tobacco refining, distribution and marketing, exportation, etc. Create employment opportunities. Yes, people that are working in the refineries, government pay them. It creates employment opportunity. Even if you are working in the refinery nowadays in Nigeria, they pay you very high. So the selling, the exportation, the people that are the filling station, they employ workers like attendants to sell for them. All this creates job opportunity. It creates employment opportunity. So these are the uses of crude oil and petrochemicals. Now, with all I have said since morning and my explanation, I believe you could use these questions to evaluate yourself. Briefly explain how crude oil can be refined. I think I did that in the first or second slide. Briefly explain how crude oil can be refined. List useful products that we can get from crude oil. If you cannot answer these questions without checking, that means you did not understand this topic. You have to go back and rewatch. When you watch again, you understand better. State 2 uses of crude oil and petrochemicals. That's what I just said. 2 uses of crude oil and petrochemicals. Now, I asked you to do an assignment for me last week. You didn't. I'm repeating the assignment again. None of you submitted the assignment. Write 10 countries of the world that produces crude oil. Write 10 countries of the world that produce crude oil. Write 10 countries of the world that produce crude oil. You can forward your answer to my WhatsApp page. With this, we'll come to the end of this topic, petrochemicals and crude oil. Thanks for listening. My name is Taylor Samson Additional. See you next class.